taking an image from this to this can help, I believe, any business, and the best part is it can be done for very little to no cost at all. We're gonna use an example of a restaurant that just popped up right next to our studio called Sakana Sushi, and yeah, we're gonna strategize a little bit for them and show them what they could do to increase their traffic and sales. Here are a few tips. Images for a restaurant, I would say, when I type in, what should I take my girlfriend out to? I type in, best cheap restaurant in the vicinity. And then, other than just like what pops up, I'm looking for images because even though I'm a little frugal, I 100% want to see images of the food in the best light possible. So, that being said, I think it is of the utmost importance for any restaurant to display their product in the best way possible. Now, that being said, I understand that small businesses have limited budgets and may not be able to hire a professional photographer or pay to have an entire menu photographed. I get that, I get it, it's a lot of money. So here's a way around that can still give you some incredible results while cutting down the costs a bit. Here's what we did. We went into Midjourney, we took a photo off their site. The photo was an iPhone photo, it looked like, and posted that in Midjourney, and then wrote our prompt, and just, God bless. I'm not even joking. When the garbage trucks come through, which is like daily here, mind you, we have 9 dumpsters. It's loud. Okay, back to what I was saying though. The photos that they have look like they're taken on iPhone, which is fine. So we brought that into Midjourney. I went with a super short prompt. It spit out this image here. You might be wondering, all right, that doesn't look exactly like the meal though. Like there's other food pieces in there. It doesn't look exactly like the dish. So that's kind of the whole point of like you seeing the dish before you eat it. I get that. I don't know what this dish is called. I tried to look at the menu. I didn't know what 90% of the items on the menu was. So if we were to do this professionally, you hired us to do this for you, we would include the direct title of that meal into the prompt, and then we'd also include maybe all the ingredients so that it shows exactly what is in that dish and exactly like how that dish is displayed in your restaurant. So this is just an example. I don't have hours and hours to do research on this stuff. I've just spent 5 minutes pulling an image and then generating one. But for example, if you were to do this for your restaurant, I would include the product description, maybe the title of the dish, and that image as well, so it has a reference. And then you have a beautiful, beautiful image that represents what you can make, displays it in a creative way, and it was done for literally nothing. I went in ahead and did this again for another dish. Again, didn't know the name of the dish. I don't know what's the ingredients in the dish, but I just did this to kind of show you. I got a little more specific with this prompt, but still not nearly enough to what should do if you're trying to recreate an exact look of a dish. I would recommend, if you're using Midjourney, would be to also type into your prompt a theme for, say you're doing a whole menu. I would 100% include some theme that stays consistent throughout. You want your menu to tie together. You want people to understand what your genre of food is. Therefore, it is important that you at least include a theme within your prompt. Now, if you're still thinking, yeah, that food just will never look how it actually looks in person. If you've heard of Photoshop Beta, this is another cool AI opportunity. So we tested a few in this. You can select what part of the image you want to, generative fill. What we did in our case was lassoed over the entire food and then inverse, so it's the space around, and then wrote a prompt surrounding that. What this does is it takes care of all that lighting and all the staging that goes into food photo shoot or product photo shoot, and allows you to also maintain how your food originally looked in your image. Doing it this way is great in maintaining the food look, how the food looks, but as you can tell in like even this example, it's like the food quality looks garbage compared to the rest of the image, and you probably want that to be consistent. Which brings me to the last point. Using AI to help out your menu or your food photos would be to hire a photographer to take photos on a nice camera with maybe good lighting of your food, and if you want to cut costs, then tell them that it doesn't even need to be staged. Could be that flat dish, a few different angles, so you have some options to work with, and then take those images and do what I just kind of walk you through, especially with the Photoshop beta, so that it fills the surrounding areas to your liking, but you can do it in a way that it's consistent throughout. So your food will then look up to quality, and your dishes will also be up to quality. AI is not going to get rid of photographers or photo work, but it kind of makes our life simpler, and it should cut costs for our clients as well. Therefore, like if you need it done in Seattle area or even outside, willing to travel of course, we'd be happy to do this. On to the next one. When I was looking through their social media, first thing I thought was, they have like, I see what they're going for. It seems like they may have hired a decent photographer or kind of designer to like throw up the first 15 posts. At least they were stylistically like consistent, and it looked good in that regard. But I think where there's a lot of opportunity with this is understanding as a small business that you're not going to be able to crank super, super high quality work consistently, but there is ways that you can crank consistent content that is more engaging and actually reaches more traffic than even simple high quality content would. And the way I see Sakana kind of taking advantage of this, or any business, is really what do you do every day that's part of your service or product that's already taking up a lot of your time, and how can we use that opportunity to kill two birds with one stone? And how I see it done for Sakana would be, I assume they have probably prep times of like an hour or two before they even open, where they're prepping food for the night. And this would be a killer opportunity to have maybe a server that's also preparing stuff in the restaurant to take 15 minutes to record simple clips of you guys actually prepping some of the food, or maybe you make one dish and you actually explain what that dish is, why it stands out, what the flavors are, what's different about it. And if you're really good at this, or become consistent, then you'll start figuring out like each time what works and what doesn't, what your audience engages with more, and how you can kind of tweak things along that. I'm sure a chef there and the waiting staff probably have great banter when there's no cameras on. Get used to having that same kind of humor and talk on camera, so that people are coming in and being like, this is exactly what I experienced when I watched it online. I think that would be the most killer. And then if you can toss in any humor or different kind of strategies in that regard, then that's also another huge opportunity. An example of this that is like a business that doesn't necessarily have thrilling product or service out the gate, but they've done a tremendous job at actually building an audience, would be, it's an Instagram account called Sam's Taylor. You guys have probably seen this guy pop up on your feed. The shit this guy says is weird, and it's like always on the edge of like, did he really just say that? Is that like even ethically, is that even like, can people say that?
Boy showed up thinking he was hot shit, taller than me, better looking than me. No chance. Single button.
So this man sells suits, which is, I don't know, not something that is, I'd say, easily advertisable. If you look at any of the suit shops that are already out there, you don't see any advertisements from them. Think about Men's Warehouse. They probably have advertised. I couldn't tell you how or what the ad was. It was probably boring as hell. It's probably boring as shit. It's a suit, right? Like, it's hard to like actually create engaging content without actually putting some creative thought behind it to like consistently crank out content. But what this guy did is, when clients would come and try on a suit, he would put them in it and then talk about the suit while they're wearing it, and add in some like really like over the top kind of comments or like touches that are just like, it makes you almost like baffled that this guy is still in business. But he is. And he now he's amassed, I think, like 350,000 followers. Undoubtedly would have positively affected his business, and he probably now has people coming into his suit shop just trying to be a part of some of these videos that he creates. Shot all of them on a phone for sure. Doesn't look like he spends a lot of time editing. It's just consistent. There's a format to them. They're funny. They are on the edge of being like too much politically incorrect. I don't even know what the word is. So then the last part is, in this one, I'll keep really quick. Sakana doesn't have a website currently, and that is another huge missed opportunity. Anytime that I go to a restaurant, I've previously at least looked at their menu, and not just on Yelp. I go onto people's websites. I think it says a lot about the restaurant in general. I think it just shows a type of care that matters. Give them a visual feel of what that restaurant is online as well. I would say that creating a website is an essential for every business. This isn't just restaurant. It's one of the first things that I did before the business was even started. That doesn't have to cost you much money either. I would say for Sakana, it would be beneficial to even have a landing page maybe it's just a landing page. Let's say it's just a landing page. It's a picture of like the interior of your restaurant in a creative way. Maybe the chef standing there, post it up. And then you scroll down, there's a few food photos and a menu. Hours, business, call it good. And then with websites that you do on your own, that would probably take you a day, maybe. And if you do it yourself, it costs you nothing. You know, it's something that you can always like build and develop as you go. It's not something that needs to be finalized and completed in the first day. Go about it and add pages, add more info, build a blog into it. You can do that stuff down the line, easy. Today, it's easier than ever. Take advantage of that. And that is it. I'd say if you guys are in the area of Capitol Hill, give Sakana a try. It's a solid sushi joint. Prices are pretty good. Yeah, support your local smaller businesses, you know? So we're gonna do more of this. I'm gonna talk more about AI stuff and how we're using it in our business and how you can use it in your business, and give helpful tips about marketing strategy, yada, 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 yada. If you want to hear more or found this one interesting, give us a follow. Thank you very much.